Gosh, man, I didn't think that after this guy got traded, we would still be making a video about how he is in the Canucks system and not being given any opportunities at all to develop. Let's go over Michael DiPietro, Vancouver Canucks goaltender drafted in 2017, that was seen by many people as a guy with some legitimate potential heading into the next few years of his development, but who ultimately fell out of favor in probably the worst way possible. DiPietro was recently traded from Vancouver over to Boston. In a video that we made just a few days ago, they made the trade before a game, I think it was, on Friday? No, was it Thursday? Something like that. But either way, DiPietro is no longer technically a Vancouver Canuck. He is a Boston Bruins guy. But before we get over into what's happened since then, I wanted to just revisit the story just for anybody who is brand new here. DiPietro was a guy that was a smaller goaltender, only 6 feet, 201 as a left-handed catching guy. He's 23 right now because he was drafted back in 2017 in the 3rd round. But he was a pretty good player in the Windsor Spitfire system, posting up a .920 save percentage in 2018-19. In the Ottawa 67 system that season, after getting traded, he was pretty good for them in the playoffs. He was undefeated, so good on him. He also played a game for the Vancouver Canucks after getting called up because all of the goalies in that system were injured for a period of time. He played one game against the San Jose Sharks. He got lit up. He let in 7 goals, and I mean, nobody was really expecting the Canucks to win that game, especially with DiPietro going in, but that was his welcome to the NHL moment. He also suited up for Team Canada at the World Juniors, where he was really good, a .950 save percentage and a 1-2-3 goals against in 4 games played. And the season after that, in Utica, the AHL affiliate, DiPietro wasn't too bad either. He had a .908 save percentage and 36 games played, but at the same time, the guy's 21 years old, so it's not necessarily all too bad if he's posting up a .908 because, you know, goaltenders that are younger are in the AHL for a reason. They're there to develop and they're there to hone their skills and get better over time, right? Except the season after, he only played 4 games. And we talked about this in several videos, but he didn't play 4 games because he was injured the whole time. Nah, he was actually good to go. The problem was, this was the season with the North Division, taxi squad, anybody getting called up from AHL teams in America was really slowed down with the border process, and it was weird. Really, really weird. And as a result, DiPietro stayed in Vancouver technically, but he didn't play any games because the Canucks signed Braden Holtby and Demko was still there, and DiPietro just did not have any opportunity to actually suit up properly, aside from the 4 games he had in Utica, where he actually was pretty okay. Last season, he played 1 game in Vancouver. He lost, had an .824 save percentage, and had 34 games played with the Abbotsford Canucks. However, the Abby Canucks have really put themselves in a position where nowadays it's very clear to see they want to go in a different direction with their goaltending. DiPietro already said that he wanted out, and now you take a look at what Abby has been doing this season. They've been kind of splitting the load in their system with Colin Delia and Artur Silovs. It's apparent that the Canucks see more value in Silovs and his potential as a goaltender long-term, so he's been the guy who's been given the reins, the keys to the car, I guess you could say. And then DiPietro, who's got 0 games played so far, ended up getting traded. This wasn't really to the fault of anybody in the Vancouver Canucks organization. It was just kind of the product of very difficult circumstances with the NHL in 2020-2021, plus the fact that in the NHL this season, there's Demko and Martin, okay, 2 guys that are kind of set in that role, and then in the AHL there was Delia and Silovs, so there wasn't really an opportunity for DiPietro to really break in and force himself into consistent minutes. Which is why when he got sent over to Boston, the sentiment around Vancouver was like, okay, unfortunately the experiment didn't work, but at the very least the guy's getting his wish. He's going to a new organization. He's going to have some opportunities to actually play, because he's not doing that here. But turns out when it comes to the update that we have received from Mark Diver, who writes on NHL.com, for the time being, we are expecting Michael DiPietro to remain with Vancouver's AHL affiliate in Abbotsford on loan from the Bruins. And I wanted to let that sink in just a little bit, because what this means is that the Boston Bruins, after acquiring DiPietro They traded for this guy. They sent over Jack Studnicka for this guy. And I guess you could say they got a prospect in return as well, but they acquired DiPietro. He's in their organization only for them to say, okay, well, we don't really want to have you here in Boston or Providence right away, so we're going to loan you out to Abbotsford. Which means you're not going to have to move. You're going to still be there. You're going to still be a part of the practices and be with their organization, but you're not going to be one of them. You're still ours. You're just with them. Michael DiPietro is getting the short end of the stick yet again. And if you go over to the Canucks subreddit, this is the post made by Electric Nux of the same tweet that we had just read. There are some comments that I wanted to read that kind of go over why this might be the case. WalkGreat2615 starts up the debate saying, this is going to be weird when we versus the Bruins AHL team. Electric Nux says, I doubt he'd be in the lineup anyway. He hasn't played a game for Abbotsford this year, and he won't play for Boston or Providence either. It's just a tough situation for him. Forward98 then replies saying, I think they're in a similar situation to Abbotsford with their goalies. They have a veteran in Keith Kincaid, as the Canucks do with Colin Delia, that they want to keep in game action in case an injury happens in Boston. And they also have a prospect they value higher than DiPietro in Kaiser. The Canucks have Seelovs. I don't really see why they wanted Mikey in general unless they think one of Swayman or Ullmark will be gone at some point. And that's kind of the simple calculation there. You have 4 goalies already in your system that you're pretty comfortable with, 2 of whom are in the NHL, 2 of whom are in the AHL. What's the point in bringing in a guy like DiPietro if you don't really think that he is worth, at the time at least, buying a plane ticket and bringing him to your team? Like, I would like to be a fly in the wall in whatever Abbotsford Canucks, like, practice or GM meeting or coaches meeting is going on here, because there's gonna have to be a conversation or two saying, hey, we traded this dude away. He hasn't been played much over the past few years in Vancouver, which has kind of stunted his development. And now, after getting sent away to Boston, he is still here. Like, he is not getting called over there. Like, I'm just a fan from the sidelines watching everything going down, but my question is, what the hell is going to be the plan now? Just sitting there and doing the same thing that they had been doing this entire time? It's still going to be Seelovs and Delia? Or are they going to want to maybe screw over the Bruins by not giving DiPietro any more playing time that he has been getting, which has been 0 this entire time? I mean, this is weird. And ultimately, the biggest loser in this situation is DiPietro himself. I feel so bad seeing what's happened to this guy in his career. I think maybe the ECHL might happen to be the best course of action nowadays, but at the same time, I mean, it's Boston's control, right? They have the opportunity to do what they want with this guy because they're the ones sending him on loan to Abbotsford, which actually is a process that happens once in a while in the NHL. It's not too common to see NHL teams loan out players in their systems to other AHL teams than their own. But it does happen once in a while, and it appears that Michael DiPietro just happens to be the subject of the latest situation as such. So talk to the comments on your thoughts about Michael DiPietro and the very unfortunate situation that he has been placed within. He went from a team that wouldn't play him to a team that won't even bring him over, only to stay with the team that wasn't playing him in the first place. That sucks. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 99. And bye.